So learning to linger and listen through the citta, listen with awareness, listen through the heart, listen with the body. This is our opportunity for retreat when we don't have kind of, phones ringing, and it's fairly steady. We have routine, and routine is helpful for that. Because things operate in a particular, focused, uniform way for everyone. We know what we're doing. And then you can just kind of relax into those forms. It takes a little while to get used to them, then you adapt, you relax into it and absorb the simplicity, absorb the sign of simplicity, absorb the sign of quiet, because there's not much to talk about, you have to figure out. Absorbing these signs. So they're there, though we don't necessarily notice them, because we tend to be focused on phenomena in other ways, whether what so-and-so's doing, or the cat's up to, or all things that catch the mind and take it external into speculation or comparisons and so forth, external direction, going out. But then you can even contemplate the external world internally, like, oh, this is the Sangha. This is, the place of Dhamma. And then you, skillful absorption, you take it in, settle into it. So it's certainly been noticeable how the Buddhist community in general has made use of this pandemic situation. Obviously it's problematic, confusing, upsetting, jarring, and focus on this allows us to be more contained. Oh yeah. This allows us, in fact, it encourages us to do online teaching. To reach out more. Because naturally, these are your Buddhist communities, our people, our family, our friends. They can't come in, and you think, okay, I guess we go out. Once you hold the frame of reference, then you turn the situation around in accordance with the skillful sign of community, friendship, mutual support. That's the sign you bear in mind. And you then turn the external situation around to fit it. Of course you could look at it, disease, and people dying. These are true too. But you absorb into that, what do you get? Agitation, sorrow, distress. It's true, and yet it's not the sign you really want to linger on. You linger on, okay, right, how do we work with this, spirit of friendship and offering support? And you find ways. And, none of us in this monastery are particularly tech savvy, but we learnt it over time, just out of, this is what you have to do, because we hold that sign fully and dearly as part of what we're about. And as an open situation, sustain itself in a closed environment. Well, this is how. So you take the internal sign, that's skillful, absorb into it, and then you get wise results of how to operate And this is an example of Dhamma practice, skillful cultivation, skillful absorption, and the wisdom that arises from it. So it's been pretty impressive, really. Over this year and a half, the continual support from our friends living all over the country and all over the world, and the kind of head scratching and manual thumbing and internet surveying to try to get this online thing going and moving that way. And it's gladdening, a noble effort, very gladdening. And so now we have this retreat session again, just appreciating, feel very gladdened by it. The cooperation, the efforts that are going on, everybody, the efforts kind of figuring things out, dealing with business, secretary, and again, everybody helping out. And from this internal quality of samadhi, harmony, and what is for the welfare of all, if it means I have to look at a manual or figure things out or wash up or whatever, doesn't matter, because the sign I'm carrying is a sign of harmony, cooperation, right effort. Then you absorb into that and you're gladdened by it. This is the way you turn the world around, rather than get turned around by it. Choose the sign. Nimitta, defining mark. And this is important, this is how you get gladdened. And this gladness, pamoja, is one of the first aspects of citta that arise in it properly, establish itself in the field of Dhamma. And it's associated with freedom from regret, remorse, agitation, worry. The mind is gladdened, I'm doing the right thing. And it's important to acknowledge that it's not just a personal praise so much as because we all do that, when we're in line with it. I mean, yeah, so-and-so can do it because she's got this skill and he can do it, he's got that skill, but we all incline towards, supporting, encouraging, serving, letting go of our own angles on things, and then this becomes a universal quality. You have mudita, gladness, and amodana, appreciation for that. This is pamoja. All the words are linked. Pamoja, mudita, and amodana, they're the same root word. And the heart is already touched. And they say, with this, you get that the mind stops getting so fretful, nervous, neurotic, obsessive. When it's like that, your nervous system starts to cool down. It's settled. The body feel happy, complete. The mind gets happy. Mind is happy in this way, in this internal way. It settles. Samadhyati. This is settled, composed. When it's settled and composed, you begin to see things clearly, with right view, right perspective, where the distortions are, where the true values are, where your happiness really lies, where you throw yourself away into this and that and this and that, squandering your treasures on pointless, frustrating obsessions. You see it, you really see it, and you know you have an alternative, you stop doing it. Stop finding fault, stop quarrelling with yourself, stop internal tribunals. Throw your heart away into this silly, obsessions. settle into the goodness, drink it in. This is skillful absorption, jhana process. And this word itself is kind of controversial in some respects because there's a big, a major thing is a different way the term is explained in the suttas, in the commentaries. The commentaries refer to jhana as a disembodied experience, where you focus on a particular image with your eye, and you have to focus pretty hard till you get a kind of a subtle visual sign appears in your mind, and you focus on that. So you go out of your body into a derived mental sign. There's no mention of that in the suttas. Suttas, the jhana is embodied. You feel it in your body. You don't scrunch up to some particular point. So this quality in the commentaries is called a nimitta, which is this derived mental sign. But in the suttas, nimitta means characteristic, like a seema boundary is a nimitta. Greed is a nimitta. Mindfulness is called a nimitta of samadhi. It means it's a defining characteristic. It's a very broad term. And the general tendency over the years, thousands of years or so, is to take what was fairly colloquial and broad and make it technical and refined. And you see this very obviously with the different descriptions of jhana. When the Buddhist, sutta jhana is an embodied state. You're in your body, you're feeling your entire body. Yeah? And the nimitta that arises is the quality of ease. It's not some visual sign. You may get visual signs, but the main thing to focus on is you feel at ease. Comfortable. That's a sign. It means, right, you're on track, you're settled, your mind isn't jumping out. That's the defining characteristic. It's at ease, and you absorb into that quality of ease because it's arrived skillfully through sense restraint, through allaying ill will, grudges, dullness, restlessness, craving, the hindrances. Therefore one's mind is settled in itself. Not on some particular point, anywhere but settled in itself. It is settled, samadhiyati. And therefore there's absorbing into that quality. And rather like mudita, it has a refreshing aspect. When you have mudita, pamojana, and anumodana, that experience, your heart is brightened. And the inconveniences don't matter, you don't notice those, the little flaws and failings and sidetracks, you don't bother with that. You focus on the main spirit of what you're doing, derive pleasure from it, settle into it. And the Buddha said, you should do this. Yeah. And so then when you're doing your meditation, embodied meditation, do the same thing. Focus not on some particular point in the body, but the entire body. And so your attention isn't narrowed, it's actually broadened. Right? To experience your entire body, it's a broad focus. And it's very receptive. Because in that kind of broad attention, your receptivity is increased because you can't get the same detail as you can when you're focusing on a point. So you're just receptive to the whole thing, and when you experience the whole thing as an entirety, then the particular localized experiences, which are sensations, when my knee feels nothing whatsoever like my cheek, my fingers don't feel anything like my ears, they're completely different sensation-wise. Right? Sensation is a localized experience. If the whole thing is the entirety, when it all feels kind of warm, yeah. It feels kind of sort of solid, yep. Yeah. It feels like there's this subtle movement of breathing in and breathing out, flowing through that, yep. It feels kind of settled, yep. It feels kind of calm, yep, you got it. It's starting to relax, yep, that's it. Feels relief, that's it, yep. Feels refreshed, yep, that's it. That's called piti. Feel really comfortable. That's called ease. That's what you focus on. That's not your ears or your fingers or your knees or your doing that. Because that's all going out, isn't it? That's to we call the external body, the body you see around you, this visual form, the way we can think about points in our body, the focus of the external senses. You go in. Oh yeah, the whole thing is just this kind of warm, sentient, sensate blob. Which tidies up a lot of issues about your personal appearance. You don't doesn't really matter anymore. Warm, sensate. That's useful, isn't it? Because you don't have to fret about the, state of your physique or your age. You don't have to worry about it, concern yourself with it. You don't get the social anxiety. Yeah? And you're not always worrying about that twinge in your leg, because when you really absorb into the rhythm of the breathing, your mind withdraws from that. So it's just somewhere out there, but you're not really assailed by it. This is very helpful for managing the experience of physical discomfort. Because you're withdrawing from it, not kind of tensing up against it, but just withdrawing your attention from the feeling born of sensation into the feelings born of internal somatic presence. And breathing in, breathing out. Notice there's no mention of sensations in the sutta. Nose tip, nope. Abdomen, nope. Sensations, nope. Counting the breath, nope. One breath at a time, nope. Breath, nope. Breathing. So this way our thinking mind tends to cut that process into one breath and the next breath. Well, actually you experience that there isn't really a cut. It just softens and changes into an open pause state, which then changes into another movement. Breathing in, breathing out. And they run together. Yeah. Different phases of energy. And that's internal. That's kind of where we find, the signs that derive from that, they are capable of bringing one some ease and unity, because there's nowhere else to go. That covers it all, entire body. That which you can experience directly, right? And that's what we encourage. This may be the first retreat certainly I've ever been on, we've actually contemplated the breathing externally because of the COVID thing. So we walk around with wearing masks because we're aware of breathing in and out externally as something that goes out into the air around us. Right? So you're kind of not chanting indoors and things like that, keeping the windows open, sitting at distance, because we're aware of the breathing as an external phenomenon, something that happens, affects the world around us. And you can see that, perhaps you can get a skillful sign from that, the sense that we are all, there's no division, we're all breathing the same air. Yeah. So who's this? Where's this me and mine occur around that? Is it my air? But it's probably, the sign from that is going to be associated with worry. So we just, okay, bearing that in mind, we set up a situation that takes care of that, and then internally, how is it? Pick up the sign. So this kind of nimitta, which is the way it's used in the suttas, is useful because it gets the point of what's happening for you. Yeah. Characteristically, when the mind is going out to the senses, we see this object and that object, we see a spade, a computer, a car, a tree, a person, the rain, the cat, the birds, so on. It's kind of scattered into very diverse elements. So the mind can like this one, worry about that one, look at that one, admire that, so forth. Different kind of mental activities occur. But if you step back a little more, further from it, this is Cittaviveka. Everything's working fine. Then you get a skillful sign. You see what I mean? What unifies into something you feel pleased by. So you don't go into the particular characteristics that set things apart. Instead you go into the characteristic that unifies everything in a way that is gladdening. This is Chithurst Buddhist Monastery, given to us, cared for over 40 years or so. How beautiful, all flourishing, all natural things doing what they do, and wonderful, and gladdened. I'm part of this, I'm in this, gladdened. And you see, sign doesn't have to be some kind of tiny little point of light. It can be something derived from summarizing the meaning of an experience. This is called emptying. Empty out the diversity, the way we can see things as diverse, and enter the unity. Everything from the car to the cat, to the trees, to the rain, to the soil, to the kitchen, is Cittaviveka, all dana. That empties the diversity, brings about the unity. One's heart settles into that. All this is worth given to be cultivated, to be used skillfully, support. Skillful Dhammas arise. You absorb into that. That's called skillful absorption. And this word, jhana, absorption, as I said, is used in different ways in the scriptures, it's in the commentaries. It is rather unusual if you've kind of got it from the commentarial point of view, where it's quite hypnagogic. Well, then you look in the sutras, it says, if you cultivate metta for the duration of one finger snap, this is jhana. What? What does that mean? Figure it out. The quality, you enter into it deeply, abandon everything else. There it is. Developing like that. Look for the unifying sign of goodwill, whether it's spread over the entire meditation hall, whether it's spread throughout your inner world of your friends and family, whether it's just relating to your own stuff, absorb into that quality of goodwill. This is skillful absorption, because it discards unhelpful worry, fear, ill will, hindrances. And you should do this, because the mind does it anyway. The nature of citta is absorptive. We do learn a language. We learn how to speak a language. That's because we absorb meanings. We learn how to type. We learn how to drive a car, cook food. We learn how to train ourselves, behaviours. We absorb all of it. It's not some weird, esoteric, mystical thing. It's just the natural feature of mind. But in skillful cultivation, you're steering that towards it, right? Steering that towards internal qualities of contentment, gladness. And breathing in, breathing out. The given, involuntary, unforced experience. Now when you read about jhana from the material point of view, it requires quite a lot of effort. Because, of course, it does. If you try and get a nimitta from your eyes, you have to put a pretty lot of willpower into doing that. Trying to get a visual sign to stick in your mind that you created through kind of semi-hypnotic, that requires a great deal of effort. But from the body's point of view, you don't need much effort to get a sign. Yeah. You see your friend walk through the door, you immediately get it. Friend, warm. A sign of friendship arises, pretty much instinctively, through the eye. Even through the body. The other year I was in New Hampshire. I was walking through the forest. I saw this thing in the grass. It looked like a snake. It's thick body. I wonder what kind of snake that is. It's got a pattern on it or what? Can't see it exactly. Dark looking. What is poisonous or what it is? It wasn't. It was only a few feet away from me. Looking at the thing, maybe I'll just throw a little pebble on it to see, get it out into the open so I can look at it more clearly. So I just lobbed, rather disrespectfully, a little pebble onto the snake, or near the snake. Flash, the snake turned round. And the next thing I experienced was my body was 1 metre back. And I emitted this ape-like roar. The snake had turned and shot towards me. And my body had instinctively seen, I'd seen that, and my body reaction it just jumped back. And it kind of let out this kind of bellow at the snake. I had no mental recognition or decision about that. It's just that the body, the eye went straight, interpretation, the sign of snake, danger, straight to the body got the nimitta immediately, flash, and responded. Fear nimitta. Sign of fear. The body does this a lot. Sexual attraction, flash. So you don't have to really force it, because that way you can actually almost sidetrack your body's natural somatic intelligence by putting mental pressure on it. Here the duty of the mind is not to put pressure on it. Duty of the mind is to stay with it. Listen up to it. Learn from it. Not to start telling it to do this or that. Listen up to it. Put aside what is degrading, unnecessary, trivial. Listen up to the full flow. And what you imagine, everybody's in and out breathing is pretty much the same. Whether it's long or short, it still does the same things in terms of its energy. Do you notice the pausing pieces, that phase of it? It's I find it pretty significant, because as you get more comfortable and settled in, that open aspect, when the breathing's concluded, the movement's concluded, settles down. As you get happier and more contented, the settled quality gets longer and deeper. And your breathing and a respiration quietens down, becomes less. You get a sense of you're still there, the energy's there, but it's not moving around, or very subtly moving. And there's a quality of openness, open stillness and stability that you can enjoy. Mind is quiet, not waiting for the next thing to happen, not trying to figure out if this is the right thing, not going strange, obsessive, not spinning out, just settling down. Feels something in your nose, this feels good. And settling in. Now, of course, we're not going to be, doing this all the time. But it's a very helpful, in my opinion, way of experiencing things, because it doesn't arrive through contriving it. It arrives through balance, poise, listening up to what's natural, but turning it in a particular way to the skillful. Skillful in terms, they're skillful because they're happy states. They're not just right, they're happy, pleasurable. And they're impersonal. They're not bound up with, in fact, the personality gets in the way of feeling these things, because your personality is a set of psychologies and structures that the citta creates in order to meet the social world. Right? It's got lots of strategies of how to handle this, that, get on with that, let go of that, change that, push this way, adjust that. It's a system. You try to apply that to meditation, it's like trying to ride an elephant as if it's a taxi. Where's the gear shift? Yeah? Where's the accelerator? It doesn't work on an elephant. There's no indicators, there's no... It doesn't work. It's the wrong system. Here you're riding an elephant, you just feel it, steady into it. And the personality, all those structures and energies that our personality needs are unnecessary and actually an encumbrance. You start to release that with all its busyness and neediness and uncertainties and managing this, that and the other. And that's a relief. So, this isn't like something that I especially have created and got for myself. Wow, I've got a great meditator I am. This is called wrong jhana. The Buddha said you can also get the whole thing wrong. You can absorb in unskillful states. And you get it's called a misjhana. And he talks about that too. So what do you absorb into? That which inclines towards release, simplicity, non-proliferation, non-personification. Notice what's absent when there's skill, any kind of skill. Notice what's been put aside, the fearfulness, the anxiety, the obligation, the whatever, what's been put aside, right? Skillful states are associated with goodwill, I wish to. It's a basis of metta, I wish to. What's been put aside, I've got to. They want me to. I'm supposed to. He says I have to. I wish to. Thank you for the tip. Thank you for the guidance. I wish to. That's the way we learn. Really, deeply, gladly, for our welfare. So you see, you can see these, the signs when they give rise to gladness, those which give rise to some kind of negative, afflicted state, and you could play either of them. Say, no, I think I'll move towards wait a minute, it's a little bit not quite what I want, but okay, yeah, it's for the welfare of others. Yeah, I wish to do that. Because it's for something bigger than my personality, which is not really going to get me where I want to go anyway. So this maturation process is learned, the benefits of it are drunk in, the health, the vitality, the happiness is increased. Yeah. When it's settled. And of course the mind, as it unifies, its reflective awareness becomes unified into a bright seeing rather than scattered glimpses. A bright seeing, because the lake of the Chitta is no longer shimmering and with cross currents. Therefore the reflection is unified, seeing clearly how things are and able to know itself. And this really is worthy of rejoicing. So let's take some time for direct practice.